What happened to the time where we admired greatness, where we looked upon our sports heroes, where we marveled at the things that they did on the field on a weekly and sometimes daily basis? When was the shift that we just took apart everything that we saw from the elite players of our favorite sports? Well, I'm here to tell you that for me, it begins and ends with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is the most polarizing sports figure in the world of sports today. No matter what this man does, there always seems to be a but behind his name. There's always an asterisk as to what is going on with his play. Whether it is the MVP debate, whether it is he a future Hall of Famer, whether it was his play style sustainable, there is always an asterisk or something coming behind a compliment. Now, this criticism does not come from everyone. Most sports fans, even rivals, can sit there and say how dynamic Lamar Jackson is, how he became more than what a lot of people thought that he was going to become when he first entered the NFL. His peers are stuck in awe. I have never seen anything like the game when they played the New York Jets and Lamar Jackson broke the rushing record for a quarterback in a season. The New York Jets players stood in line and waited for Lamar to sign jerseys for them. When have you ever seen anything like that after a game on the field of play? You haven't, because there has never been another player like Lamar Jackson. Even the NFL greats, Lamar Jackson's heroes, my heroes, the guys that I grew up watching that I knew were better than the best. They have nothing but good things to say about Lamar Jackson. We have Pro Bowlers, Super Bowl winners, guys that are in the Hall of Fame talking about what Lamar does each and every week, how he makes grown men, professionals, look very silly. But then you have these pundits, prognosticators, and publications that always want to question what Lamar Jackson does. And this is nothing new for Lamar ever since he hit the college field. Now, for me, it's full circle because unfortunately, Lamar Jackson gained his fame versus my Florida State Seminoles, where he dismantled them. The Seminoles were rated number 2 in the country. Lamar Jackson was a virtual unknown, and he came in and destroyed us. I mean, destroyed us. Lamar Jackson went on to win a Heisman Trophy. Then the very next season, he went out, and I personally think that he had better statistics than he did in the previous season, but they didn't give him the MVP. I wonder why. And this is where I thought that things began, where they started questioning his viability as far as being an NFL prospect, as far as how his game was going to translate into the NFL. But if you actually watch Lamar Jackson at Louisville, he played in a pro-style system. He threw the ball extremely well with no talented receivers. He wasn't one of those college guys that just had athletes all around and he just threw the ball to them and they just went. Lamar did his thing and he happened to rush for 1,500 yards a season. He didn't try to, it just came by happenstance because he is just that gifted. Now, going into the NFL, it was, yes, Lamar Jackson won a Heisman Trophy. He was great in college, but is his play going to be sustainable throughout an NFL career? He's running around too much. He's going to get hurt. He's not going to play that long. So is he worthy of a first-round pick? They thought that maybe he should switch to wide receiver because of his speed, his athleticism, his twitchiness. He should switch positions and maybe do something else outside of quarterbacks because the league wasn't ready for anything like Lamar Jackson at that time. But then my team, the Baltimore Ravens, decided that they were going to take a chance, traded back into the first round with the last pick with the Philadelphia Eagles, and selected Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson didn't come in and start. There was a much heralded draft class of quarterbacks that came in and got to do their thing. Most of them didn't pan out. Some of them took a little bit longer to get their footing. One of them was out the league within 4 years. But Lamar Jackson, to me, stands out as the best of all 5 of the quarterbacks drafted in the 2018 draft. And then, of course, he got the undue criticism because the team was built around Joe Flacco at the time. Then Joe Flacco got hurt and they inserted Lamar. They were not ready for his play style. They didn't have the correct offensive coordinator. They did not have the correct weapons to accentuate what Lamar Jackson could do. But then in his second season, we realized he's a lot better than we thought he was, winning a unanimous MVP as his first season as a true starter. Led the league in touchdown passes with no weapons virtually, doing it all on his own. And also that season, he went on to break the rushing record for a QB in a season with over 1,200 yards. And for some people, we thought that that was the best version of Lamar that we could see. But that was not the case. Lamar Jackson continued to get better and better every year. Then he missed part of the season in 2021 and also got hurt in 2022. But at the time of Lamar Jackson getting hurt, he was the front runner for MVP and he was playing that well, giving us a glimpse that 2019 was not an aberration. It was not something that was a one-off, that he was a one-hit wonder. Then the Ravens got rid of Greg Roman, brought in Todd Monken. Lamar Jackson won his second MVP. Cool. We're like, okay, he's Lamar. He's doing his thing. But then we come into the 2024 season and we see a version of Lamar that we never thought we would see. I know a lot of us thought that Lamar could do better than 2019, but we never imagined anything like he is doing today. And for me, this season highlights the problem that we have in sports media, that we are seeing some things that we have never seen before in NFL history. So to me, whenever these guys start talking about Lamar Jackson, they just need to put up a ticker that says Lamar Jackson asterisk. That's it, because they're always going to give him a backhanded compliment and then they're going to add a but to it. Lamar Jackson is having an MVP type season. Is he the best player in the league right now? Yes, in my opinion, he really is. The things that he is doing on the field, throwing the ball, he has taken his passing game to new heights. Yes, we have Zay Flowers. Yes, we have Rashad Bateman. Yes, we have Mark Andrews, but we don't have that elite wide receiver that some of these guys have. And Lamar Jackson is having career highs in all of these numbers. But they have to continuously keep moving the goalposts. Lamar Jackson was the front runner in the beginning of the season. He started ramping things up, but Lamar Jackson can't seem to beat the Steelers. Then Lamar Jackson goes out there and he beats the Steelers. Now it's Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he has 2 MVPs. He's playing better than he ever has. But what about that playoff record? Why during the regular season, when Lamar Jackson is setting career highs, he's breaking records each and every week? Why are we discussing his playoff record now? Why is it that we have to talk about him as an MVP frontrunner, but we bring up the playoffs? This is something that I have never seen before, so I did some digging. I went back and I looked at some things, and I'm like, has there ever been a quarterback that has been this scrutinized with similar success that Lamar Jackson has? Because they love bringing up the stat. All of these guys have multiple MVPs, and each and every one of them have a Super Bowl victory, which at the current time is true. It is very, very true. But there is one gentleman in particular who has been considered one of the all-time greats of the NFL. When he came out of college, he was considered possibly the second best QB prospect in history behind John Elway before Andrew Luck came. That's another debate for another day, but it was Peyton Manning. Yes, Peyton Manning received a little bit of backlash from what he did during his first 8 seasons in the NFL, but it was nothing like Lamar Jackson faced. Lamar Jackson is 2-4 in the playoffs. It's a fact. But before Peyton Manning won his first Super Bowl, he was 3-6 in the playoffs. He started 0-3. Lamar started off 1-2. Peyton started off 0-3, and in 2002, he lost to the New York Jets 41-0. When have you ever seen a Lamar Jackson team get beat 41-0? When have you ever seen a Lamar Jackson team get blanked? When have you ever seen a Lamar Jackson team get beat by more than 10, 15 points? You haven't. But of course, Peyton Manning, they talked a little bit, but it has never been. Well, Peyton Manning is an all-time great, and it took Peyton Manning 9 seasons to win his first Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson is in his 7th season. Peyton Manning won 2 MVPs in 2003 and 2004, but didn't win a Super Bowl until 2006. And it has not been highlighted the way that Lamar Jackson and his playoff mishaps have been highlighted to this point. Yes, we get it. But can we not just marvel at the things that Lamar Jackson is doing during the regular season? His career is not done. So let's stop talking about his playoff successes at this point, because Peyton Manning had a similar journey, even though it was much worse at the time. 2-4 versus 3-6. 9 years to win a Super Bowl. Lamar is 7 and counting. And then we go to the MVP voting, and they talk about player fatigue. I've never heard of this before. Until it came up with Lamar Jackson, player fatigue has not been a thing in the NFL. Maybe in baseball, maybe in basketball, who knows, but it has never been a thing in the NFL. They didn't have a problem with giving Peyton Manning 5 MVPs. They didn't have the problem of giving Tom Brady multiple MVPs. They didn't have a problem when it came to Brett Favre getting MVPs. It was never a problem when certain players got their MVPs. When Aaron Rodgers won his back-to-back, I didn't hear anything about player fatigue. When Peyton Manning won his back-to-back, I didn't hear about player fatigue. They gave the award to the best player in the game at that time. But of course, now that it is Lamar Jackson, somebody that they don't want to change the narrative of the quarterback position in the NFL, now it's player fatigue. We might want to give it to Josh Allen because he's been in the top 5 of MVP voting for the last 4 years. So what? If he's not the best player, he's not the best player. If he is, he is. But currently, as it stands, statistically, Lamar Jackson is well above and beyond him. Lamar Jackson has one game versus the Cleveland Browns coming up. And if he has a typical Lamar game like he has all season long, he's going to break the passer rating of all time. He's going to have the greatest passer rating of all time. There are 3 names at the top of that list right now. 2 of them are Aaron Rodgers, 1 of them is Peyton Manning. And all 3 of them won the MVP award. And you telling me right now Lamar Jackson sitting at number 2 with the possibility of being number 1 when they thought that he was not a passer at all, and he went and proved everybody wrong. And I understand the male ego. I understand people want to be and have a need to be right about certain situations, but you were wrong about Lamar Jackson. Give him his props and stop talking about things that have not happened yet. We're not in the playoffs, so we're talking about the regular season. So when you talk about my quarterback, stop talking about Lamar Jackson and his accomplishments and then adding a but to it. Yes, there are other deserving players that could get this award, but some of the things that Lamar Jackson has done passing the ball is amazing. He's going for his first 4,000 passing yard season. If he really wanted to, he could get the numbers to get 1,000 yards rushing in his game versus Cleveland. So he could be the first player in league history to have 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. But he's not trying to do that. He's just trying to win games. Some of the things that he is doing is mind-boggling. Some of the past greats, recent greats of the NFL have never accomplished these things. Since the passer rating has come into place in, I believe, 2006, Lamar Jackson is the first player in NFL history since 2006, 18 years, to have a passer rating of above 140 in 5 games. Every week, another record falls. But yet and still, we talk about Lamar Jackson and what he's accomplishing, but the playoff record. How is his playoff record going to hinder him in the MVP voting? And more importantly to me, which I couldn't care less about the MVP, is why can't we just admire what he's doing on the field? Why can we not just talk about what he has done up until this point in his career, which you guys thought he couldn't do, and give him his flowers, give him his props, stop giving him backhanded compliments and then adding something negative onto the end? Because I'm telling you guys right now, when it's all said and done, and especially I do believe after this season, when Lamar Jackson wins the Super Bowl, what is going to be the goalpost movement then?
Nah, man, I'm cool.